The royal family knew about this before Sarah and Andrew were pictured at a funeral this week. They knew about all this scandal and the royal family still let them attend. Absolutely unbelievable. Fergie's Epstein lies exposed in bombshell email. It's actually emails, there's more than one. This is the first one that's been released. She publicly apologised for taking abusers' cash and vowed to cut ties with him, but then weeks later emailed him to tell him, I only did it to save my book deals. And this is typical of the royal family. The media sets the image that we are expected to believe, that public image, but behind the scenes, that public image is not true. Behind the scenes, they believe they're untouchable, they act in their own best interest, they will do anything to save their own skin. I actually think that Sarah and Andrew are going to be sacrificed by the royal family now.
Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, is once again in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. This time, it's over a resurfaced email she sent to Jeffrey Epstein, the disgraced financier whose crimes shocked the world. The email, written back in 2011, describes Epstein as a steadfast and generous friend, words that now seem deeply problematic. Even at that time, Epstein was already a convicted sex offender, making Fergie's praise all the more troubling and difficult to defend. The email's public release in 2025 has reignited a scandal the royal family desperately hoped would stay buried, sending shockwaves through the palace and the public alike. Charities and organisations have quickly distanced themselves from Fergie, severing ties and cancelling events, turning this into a full-blown PR disaster. Her representatives insist she wrote the email under duress, claiming she feared a lawsuit from Epstein and felt pressured to appease him. But can fear truly justify calling a known predator a supreme friend? Many are unconvinced, and the explanation has only fueled further debate. This controversy shines a harsh light on the decisions made behind closed doors, where personal interests and public responsibilities collide. It raises uncomfortable questions about loyalty, morality, and the kind of company the royals choose to keep, both in private and in public. This isn't just about Fergie's personal judgment. It's about the standards and values of the entire institution she represents. The story has sparked intense debate in the media and among the public, reminding us why these issues are too important to ignore. The email forces us to reconsider the standards we expect from the royals and whether they are truly living up to them. In the end, it's a royal mess that demands answers, transparency, and real accountability from those in power. The timing of Fergie's email is shocking. In 2011, she publicly apologised for her ties to Epstein, calling it a huge mistake. Yet privately, she praised him as a steadfast friend. This contradiction between public statements and private words is troubling. It suggests her public apology wasn't sincere. Was she more concerned about her reputation than doing the right thing? Her team's claim of duress feels weak against the email's friendly tone. This episode reveals a disconnect between her public and private personas. It's a reminder to watch actions, not just words. The email makes us question her sincerity and judgment. It's a betrayal of public trust and a classic case of double standards. The situation is incredibly disappointing and demands scrutiny. Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender whose crimes shocked the world and sent ripples through the highest echelons of power. His arrest and subsequent death in jail only deepened the mystery and controversy surrounding his life. He was accused of running a vast sex trafficking ring, exploiting vulnerable young women and girls, and using his wealth and connections to evade justice for years. The details of his crimes were horrific, and his name has become synonymous with evil and corruption at the highest levels of society. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, isn't the only royal with ties to Epstein. Her connection is just one thread in a much larger web. Prince Andrew, the Queen's second son, was a close friend of Epstein, often seen in his company both in public and private settings. Andrew's friendship with Epstein has become a massive scandal for the royal family, drawing intense media scrutiny and public outrage. He was accused of sexual abuse by one of Epstein's victims and ultimately settled out of court, a move that many saw as an admission of guilt and which irreparably damaged his reputation. The Epstein connection is a dark stain on the House of Windsor, casting doubt on the integrity of the institution and its members. It raises uncomfortable questions about the judgment, associations, and moral compass of those at the very top of British society. Fergie's email, recently brought to light, brings these troubling questions back to the surface, reigniting public debate and media scrutiny. It reinforces the perception that some royals lack the judgment expected of those in their privileged positions, and that lessons from past scandals remain unlearned. The story is part of a larger pattern of controversy and scandal that has slowly eroded public trust in the monarchy over the years. Every new revelation, every headline is another blow to their credibility and the image they have worked so hard to maintain. The shadow of Epstein continues to hang over the royal family, demanding transparency, accountability, and real change from an institution steeped in tradition. This is a crisis that strikes at the very heart of the monarchy, threatening its future and its relationship with the public. If the monarchy hopes to survive and regain public trust, it must confront these issues head-on, with honesty and a willingness to change. Since the email's release, Sarah Ferguson has faced a wave of charity backlash and a relentless barrage of negative headlines. The press pounced on every detail, and for a while, it seemed like her reputation was in real jeopardy. Public opinion soured, and her name became synonymous with scandal in the tabloids. But as the dust settles, the outrage inevitably fades, and the story quietly slips out of the daily news cycle. The headlines that once screamed her name are replaced by the next big controversy. The royal machine is remarkably adept at weathering these storms, relying on time and distraction, waiting patiently for the public's attention to shift elsewhere. It's a strategy that's been used for generations. But is Sarah Ferguson really facing the kind of consequences that Prince Andrew did? The reality is, not really. While both have been embroiled in controversy, the outcomes are far from equal. Instead, it's a textbook case of damage control and containment, with carefully crafted statements and limited public appearances. She'll likely lay low for a while, avoiding the spotlight, and then reappear at select events, hoping the public's memory is short and forgiving. This protective bubble that surrounds certain royals is deeply frustrating for many people, especially those who expect accountability from public figures. They seem almost entirely shielded from meaningful consequences, no matter the scale of the scandal. The system appears designed to protect them, and that only fuels public cynicism and distrust. It sends a clear message. There are different rules for the elite and for everyone else, deepening the divide between the monarchy and the public. Politicians and celebrities, by contrast, often face much harsher consequences, with careers and reputations on the line. The lack of real consequences for royals is, in many ways, the biggest scandal of all, undermining trust in the system. It leaves ordinary people questioning the fairness and integrity of the institutions meant to serve everyone equally. If the monarchy wants to maintain its credibility and relevance, it must address these double standards and show that no one is above accountability. Compare Fergie's scandal to Meghan's treatment. Meghan faced relentless criticism for trivial matters. The attacks were personal and often baseless. Her children were also targets of vicious commentary. Meghan was painted as a villain, while Fergie's scandal fades. The royal protection mechanism seems to shield Fergie. The difference in treatment is staggering. Meghan is attacked for minor things, while Fergie gets a pass. It suggests two sets of rules, one for insiders, another for outsiders. Meghan, as an outsider, faces relentless negativity. The double standard is glaring and demands scrutiny. It raises questions about fairness and bias. The monarchy must address this to ensure equal treatment. The public deserves a fair and just system. Why is Meghan treated with hostility while others avoid it? Some say it's because she and Harry left royal duties, but the negativity started earlier. Meghan is a mixed-race woman, the first person of colour in the senior British royal family. The attacks often have racist undertones, targeting her background and character. The difference in treatment may come down to skin colour. It's an uncomfortable thought for an institution representing all people. The double standard is obvious and suggests bias. It's a moral crisis for the media and the monarchy. We must demand equal standards for everyone, regardless of background. The monarchy must address this to maintain credibility. The public deserves fairness and accountability. The challenge is to ensure equal treatment for all. This is about accountability and equal rules for everyone. Fergie's scandal is managed while attacks on Meghan continue. The system seems broken, prioritizing protection over fairness. This creates a sense of injustice and erodes faith in the monarchy. The royal family should hold themselves to high standards. They must take meaningful action when linked to scandals. Weak statements aren't enough. They must show accountability. Without it, they appear out of touch and above reproach. This is a moment for reflection on who we criticize and protect. We must question our biases and demand fairness. The monarchy's credibility is on the line. They must prove they stand for fairness and accountability. The world is watching and the pattern is clear. The challenge is to ensure equal treatment for all.